Yep.
You guys wake up out of your chairs, having won the greatest Space Ranger. Waiting for you, naturally, is the Salarian head of media, Ristern.
Ooh.
This logout
My
process
head.
could definitely be sped up. It feels like we've been in there a month.
Jackasses.
Yes, well, that happened.
Never meet your
Sorry
heroes.
about that.
Oh, that was disorienting.
I mean,
I feel a little sick.
all in all, though, I'm a little disappointed. But hey, we did it.
Yes, indeed. Congratulations. Of course, there's still work left to do. You see, this may have all been recorded in one day, but it's going to be televised over the course of many months. Using the footage of all the various teams, we tend to get about an entire season, 30 to 40 episodes worth of content out of that one day of footage.
Does the Dalatrass at least get a premiere showing so that we could see her quicker?
As a matter of fact, the Dalatrass watches it live.
Good.
She alone does. However, even with all of the extremely long recaps and outros and intros, we are still going to need to interview each of you to get a little bit more content out of this.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, please, you knew this.
Well, we'll escort each of you into a private room where you'll be interviewed about your experiences. If you will, please pretend that you're being asked these questions in the given moment. You'll be shown a clip of where in the show the interview will be inserted.
How long is this going to take? Because our business with the Dalatrass is pressing.
Oh, it shouldn't take more than an hour or two. If you can work in a little bit of drama between you, that would be great. It doesn't matter if it's real, but like if you could just, make up some disagreements within the group.
The world is about to find out about Ez's red vine problem.
The fucking reality TV shit. They're gonna try to get you to like.
Oh no!
It's gonna show you guys like running to the tower, and then cut to one of you being like, I don't think Kronk brought his A game this time. He was really phoning it in, like in a chair, like a light.
I suppose we can spare one more hour.
Give me that moment where I whiff that shot, and everybody's just gonna be like, Arturo, honestly, like he claims he's the best shot in the entire group, but I've rarely ever seen him hit the broadside of a barn.
We're gonna be like the end of the fight and be like, I'm pretty sure those charge up laser beams were just a ruse.
Oh yeah, that I'm pretty sure we're all gonna say that. It's like,
All right. So time for some interviews.
Oh boy.
Yeah. She's like, wonderful, right this way, and she'll kind of split everyone up into rooms. So this is an opportunity where if you want to throw anything out there, you can. I am also going to go through and have everybody roll the charisma check of their choice. Don't do it yet. I'm going to go one at a time. But like, you can do persuasion, intimidate, or deception, whichever one you want. But it's just going to like a little bit of a popularity poll when this starts to come out. So I'm gonna start with Joseph.
Oh no.
Number one, is there anything that you want to say that's going to be televised? If it's okay, if not, but if you want to if you want to dictate what any of this is, you can. Like anything in particular you really want Arturo to put out there.
Like honestly, with all the hype and everything people talking about with that team, that was probably the most disappointing fight of my life. Especially when it turned out Laserface had nothing to show for.
All right.
Yeah.
I was excited for a good fight.
Go ahead and roll me the charisma skill of your choice.
Oh God, they all suck.
They all suck for me too, brother.
I have a -1 in every charisma.
Yay,
at least I'm a little
charisma
bit better than
caster!
All right. Well, so after the interview, media director Ristern is like, well, a lot of editing probably needed, but some of this could be possibly salvageable. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Roy stepped outside. It's like, I am never doing this shit again.
And then,
Be that guy.
they're gonna practically cut Arturo out. He's gonna get like there's gonna be an interview with someone else who says like, you know what, and they make like a big point, and then it cuts to Arturo, and Arturo says, yeah, I agree, and then that's it. That's his entire appearance.
They're gonna get a stand-in voice actor to say like, I never miss.
It doesn't match his lips.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say now before they call David, I'm gonna activate Biotic
David's
enhancement and give my. Oh, okay, good. I got myself the charisma.
Oh, wait.
All right.
I could have
Crystal was-
adapted to that. Can I adapt to that?
You want to?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So.
Roll or stick die roll.
Wait. I still have inspiration. Never mind.
You're not gonna spend inspiration.
You've
on
already
this.
rolled with advantage.
I'm joking.
David,
All right,
if
David.
you'd be a deer and cast that on me before you head in there too, I'd appreciate that.
Oh, I'll give you a high five on the way out. He said.
It's only a
yeah.
self. It's a self cast.
No,
It's
self-only.
self-cast. Yeah, but my
Oh,
my high five, my high five will give her a boost of confidence. It's a sugar pill. It's a placebo.
Yeah, there
You
you
got
go.
this.
Placebo. Be like, all right, Ray, I have cast my strongest biotic enhancement on you. You didn't do anything. Just the what is it? The liquid luck with Ron in the Quidditch match. Like,
Yeah.
she'll do
Oh,
great
yeah.
because she thinks you
Jason.
helped her. Yeah. All right,
Oh.
David, you're up. Is there anything in particular you really want on TV?
I think David looks at the clips that they're showing, and he's like nodding and smiling and grinning along it. And then it cuts to the cooking portion. He goes, "Now you see, on the battlefield, I like throwing a punch with the best of them. I've been trained to shoot guns, swords, all that good stuff. But I'm most at home when I'm behind an oven or a stove and just cooking up things for anybody. Just relaxing, resting, good food, good people. What's not to love, you know? That's all I want."
All right.
And he's gonna play the wholesome angle. That's what I'm gonna try and do.
All right, give me that roll.
So I will say this because I can't add. Actually, wait, I can. I can temporarily add it because of if I just click it, it adds my proficiency to it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll take that. Take that. Biotic enhancement.
Yeah,
fucking
you're
rules,
pretty
bro.
you're pretty likable. Richard's like, oh, that was lovely. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, Lucille, you're in the chair. Anything you want to put out on the airwaves?
She will be super fan like normal. It'll be, critiques and commentary on, when this had been seen previously, pitfalls that she'd seen other teams, make, how that they had been able to, overcome these different things and stuff. I mean, like, super fanning it up.
Gotcha.
But at the end, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, having been a longtime fan of the show and having watched it the way I have, I gotta say it's a little disappointing to come up to that final challenge and just not get the challenge, the competition, that true back and forth that you expect from that level of competitor, and it's really sad, But at the same time, eventually heroes fall. And somebody's got to knock them off their pedestal. And of course, it makes sense it was us. Why is that rolling with it?
Why did I roll with disadvantage?
Why is it rolling with disadvantage?
That's a good question. Were you under
Well,
the
that's-
effects of something?
Don't
I don't
think
think
so.
Weird.
Well,
So that's not disadvantage, right? I think it's 20.
No. Yeah, it'd be a 20.
Yeah.
Just be.
So you're very well liked. Richard's like, oh, this should do nicely. Thank you very much.
That's the speech that after that's done, they're going to cut Arturo going, I agree.
Everyone told
Yeah,
Arturo
exactly.
go invisible at some time so they can just show a chair with nobody in it.
Yeah, interview with Arturo, just a picture of a chair. Yeah.
Where'd you go, Arturo?
It's just an empty chair, and then someone who isn't Arturo voiceovering like, yes, I am invisible right now. Anyway, as I was saying, and it's just a different actor.
I agree with everything that Lucille had to say. Anyway.
All right, time for Aryn. Aryn's in the chair.
Yep.
Anything
Aryn,
you want to put out there?
Yeah, Aryn's gonna let's see. She's gonna say our opponents were at a bit of a disadvantage because we've had plenty of real world experience, and practicing for a game show just doesn't prepare you for the real thing. Just like video games don't make you a good warrior. But I'm proud of my team. We stuck to the plan, and it all worked out for us. Bah!
Oh,
I'd like to add a contingency onto that.
go for it.
Damn. My man.
Wait, what'd you roll? Did you roll an 8?
That's a
Yes.
19.
You're universally attractive as well. No, not that one. Diplomatic culture. If you roll 9 or lower, you can add a 1d10.
Oh, that's... Yes.
Your
I
persuasion
remember.
check.
Ah, yes.
What?
Thank you.
Look at Ez! Dude, Mark wrote this system.
You know the system better than I do now. Thank you.
Oh, I was
wrote
just
the
looking at
system.
it. I have it open. Don't
Oh,
get
yeah,
mad.
you've got
shit.
persuasion as well. That's right.
Yeah, I'm coming up for me.
Look at this fucking guy. Mark wrote the damn thing.
24.
Did you just want to be better than me? Is
54.
that the deal? You just wanted to beat Shepard?
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
like, that's what it is. That's what it is, Lucille. It's just like the humans gotta plumb it up while
Like,
the
I'm the
folks,
charisma
you know.
caster. Charisma's my main stat.
Aaron has to remember how sexy she is on planet. How
Yeah.
sexy she is on planet. There you go.
Well, technically, I feel like I should get a bonus as super fan. Just saying.
Please.
Kronk
Please
didn't do
tell
too
me that was
bad.
wrong.
So,
Yes.
so Kronk also super fans because I remember that he was a big fan of the show, and he is actually more likable than Lucille.
Everyone likes a sarcastic Krogan.
The Krogan.
We
Krogan.
Hey, not by much. You still did great, Lucille.
This is incredible, dude. Like a month later, you guys are gonna see like a popularity poll, and Kronk is gonna be above Lucille, and Lucille's gonna fucking lose it.
Arturo's going to see himself at the bottom of the popularity poll and just be like, that tracked.
All right,
So
Ray.
he's on it.
Alright, so before I go in, I'm going to change Tasty to something a little more savory for TV. Just change like how he shows himself.
Okay.
And can I have him use the help action to give me advantage?
Oh, you don't have him dressed up like a nurse.
Unfortunately, when you try to bring him in, she says, "Oh, well, this is really a one-on-one interview. I don't think it would be appropriate for the drone to participate in the conversation."
Fuck.
To be
Alright.
fair, drones are a core part of Ray's image.
I think we'd like to just focus on the participant themselves and who they are.
I tried.
You know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll go ahead and use tech support on myself at least. And I guess I'll go with
I
persuasion.
love how much you guys care about these roles. You realize how inconsequential this is, right?
Yes.
I mean,
We all want to
I
win the
gotta-
popularity
I have to
contest.
get that cooking
You guys are taking it
sponsorship.
so
Man.
serious.
You said popularity contest, and we all were like,
Holy
everything's
Superman
serious.
for all of this. All of a
Man.
sudden, you guys actually care. That's
Yeah.
what's that.
Man,
Yeah,
I want my cookbook lines of Moreau and me all over the galaxy. You're damn right I
All
can.
right.
some of us have
alright.
OnlyFans accounts to spread, you know?
Whoa, boy.
Oh,
Okay.
wait a minute, Aaron's got an only. Wait a minute.
Alright, Dan.
All
Now that
Asari
everybody's
have
got their-
OnlyFans. It's part
What?
of our culture at this point.
Now that everybody has said their ridiculous thing, I'll
I
go
thought it
ahead
was
and
Kronk.
say, I've played enough campaigns with you to know nothing's inconsequential, so that's why I'm worried about it.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Don't do worse than
uh,
Arturo.
Sean over here calling my fucking bluff.
Ray's gonna walk in and she's gonna do her normal thing where she's like very nervous, and she is gonna immediately go to talking about the rest of the group and how they're like her family to her, and how she's so happy that we were able to work together to accomplish such a great goal and be seen well by people, and so on and so forth.
All right.
Oh, she's being a wholesome sweetheart.
Hey,
That's what I expected.
no.
Oh no! She,
Oh no! Do you have inspiration? Have you used your inspiration for today?
Yeah, because you didn't get advantage from something else. Like, I didn't let Arturo use advantage because he already got advantage from his racial feature, but
Alright.
you haven't.
Let me try it again then.
The trick is, does Ray have it on the sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, you took it off. It was there. Because if it wasn't there, you probably used it during the game, is the thing.
like, come on, Ray can't do worse than Arturo did.
No.
Yeah, so roll another persuasion for me if you did have inspiration left over after the thing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, there we
it is.
go. 19.
Nice.
That's pretty good. All right, you're very lucked. Time for Eon.
Honestly, you should have went with me first.
Oh boy.
I'm the star of the show here, anyways. These
Are
losers
you?
couldn't do anything without me. Honestly, why am I even here? I will say though, David can cook, so if he comes out with a cookbook, get that.
You're gonna plug David's cookbook?
And then I'm just gonna model a bit, pose.
Then you just pose?
Damn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They ask good questions, you just pose.
I hope
just-
they
you
get the
give
nat
them-
20.
You give him the fucking.
Fan
You just
service.
give him the,
Watch me do the highest roll.
you
now.
just you give him the
Give us
fucking.
that performance.
Okay, I give up. I give up. I can't get in. I'm the DM and I can't get in.
Sorry, go ahead, Zed.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm the dungeon master and I can't get in. No,
I
you
apologize.
don't hear from me. All right, roll your fucking dice, Sean.
Me again?
No, not Sean. Fucking Ez. You guys fucked me up. Damn it. Wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
I'll blow a kiss to the camera
Oh,
and then
my
strut
fucking
off.
God. You answer most of the questions by fucking like doing like model that like the smolder, right? Like you do
Yeah.
the fucking.
Exactly.
Cold
I was
steel.
like, all right, Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
And then I'm gonna tell everyone, please don't listen to what I said in there. I was lying.
What did you say?
I feel so bad.
Not
Nothing.
ashamed, gotta
I didn't
put up
say
for the
it.
cameras.
I'm gonna go cry now.
It's a different side of you, Ez.
No, don't cry. No.
Sorry, Eon, not Ez. One more time. It's a different side of you, Eon. There's hope for you yet.
I like you guys so much.
Oh, we like you too. It's okay.
If there's a camera nearby, I'm gonna look at it and shake my head.
Just slumps my shoulders.
Yeah, right. Just one of those office scenes.
Jeez. All right. Well, after you're all done with that, she says, "All right, now if you'd like, I will show you to the Dalatrass's quarters. I'm sure she'd be excited to meet you, as she did watch the show live."
We're eager to meet her as well.
Wonderful. Right this way. And she's gonna start leading you guys. She leads you up a flight of stairs to an elevator. And on getting in the elevator, it begins to go up further. And then when it reaches the top of the building, it actually turns and goes left. And it starts to go across a gap, like over a waterfall, to another much bigger palace. When it enters, it starts to go back up again, and as it goes up, the lighting is darker here. It's more enclosed. The sun can't penetrate this deep. Eventually, you find yourself surrounded by nothing but artificial lighting, and it's not overly bright, it's relatively dim. Stopping at a large black pair of double doors, the media director, Ristern, holds down a button and speaks into a voice panel next to it. The winners would like to meet with you. Would that be acceptable, Your Highness? And you guys hear a bubbly, feminine voice, like a little girl, say, "Oh yes, yes, wonderful! Send them in right away." And Ristern kind of bows out of the way as the doors open so that you can enter. Do you?
Yes, we will enter.
Lucille will shoot Aryn a look as the voice had come over. Just kind of one of those, oh wow, kind of looks.
Not what I expected.
Why did the music suddenly get creepy?
As you enter the chamber, you don't see anyone around.
Hello?
You hear a voice echo through the room. "Welcome! It's so nice to meet you." And as the voice speaks, the lights along the central pillar light up and dim as it talks.
Mother.
Well, this is certainly
Is it?
not what I expected.
Alright, is it an AI or a PI?
Oh,
This Salarian steps around from behind one of the panels and says, "Welcome," with a voice that is not the Dalatrass's. She says, "I'm sure you're somewhat surprised.
indeed we are.
Don't be alarmed. The Dalatrass is very much Salarian, just perhaps not entirely so anymore. We did what we had to do to preserve the royal bloodline after the Reaper War, you see."
So this is like that movie Tron, where the lady is in the master computer.
There are organic parts remaining.
Oh.
And you hear the younger voice from the machine again say, "Ew! Don't be gross!"
So, did Cerberus's work with mixing AI and organics not make you think maybe this is a bad idea?
"Well," says the Dalatrass's attendant, "at the time, our scientists decided this was better than the alternative. You wouldn't understand how important the royal bloodline is to our culture."
Maybe not, but I would understand that putting that much power behind something that is effectively ones and zeros is not a great idea.
"Please try to be more respectful. The Dalatrass's brain is fully intact." And then the Dalatrass says, "Salo, I told you not to be gross. Don't talk about my brain. Ugh."
Regardless, the Dalatrass still speaks with the authority of Salarian rulership.
Salo nods and says, "That is correct."
Keela.
How long has she been like this?
She was the only survivor of the Reaper's invasion from the royal family that we could salvage. So since then, she may sound young, but she isn't. That was 20 years ago.
Wow.
Well,
Well, regardless, we do have business here. The entire reason we entered that competition was because we needed an audience with the Dalatrass.
You were so cool out there! Wah! Wah! I liked your moves.
Why, thank you. We've had lots of practice working together. And she'll dismiss the holographic self illusion on herself to change her clothes back to normal. And she'll say, "I apologize for the ruse, but I'm Aryn Talia. I'm a council specter. My business with you is quite urgent, Dalatrass."
Yeah, it's about the big creepy thing, right? I know about that.
Well, then you'll understand that Primarch Victus is calling up the Galactic Readiness Task Force, and we'd like the Salarian forces to be available to join it at a moment's notice.
I don't know about that. I have to worry about my people.
Your people are just as much in this thing's crosshairs as everyone else. This is a threat that all our people share.
I mean, the last time everyone came together to fight a big spooky thing, most of our military left to join a big fleet. And then the Reaper showed up, and I don't like thinking about that. It wasn't good.
Well, then we don't need to think about that. We don't need to think about the past. We need to look forward, look ahead at what the possibilities are. This thing needs to be defeated, and the more forces we have to do so, the more likely we are to succeed with the fewer lives lost.
I don't like repeating mistakes of the past. This feels really familiar. The last time we got everybody together, my mom and dad died.
Well, fortunately, there is more that I think your people can do. Your people are the galaxy's leading experts in science and technology. And we've had a lead that advanced technology might be the solution to defeating it. Since its powers are mostly biotic and mental in nature, they won't have as much of an effect on tech. And so
you want us to build something?
I'd like you to put your scientific minds to the task of finding something that would be effective against it. If there's any people that can do it, it would be the Salarians. Your technology is unrivaled across the galaxy.
That is different. If you're not taking our armies or ships and you just want us to make something, that's reasonable.
We think it would be a great boon to our cause. Even if not your forces, your technology would certainly be useful against it.
Salo? And Salo bows deep, Your Majesty. And she says, get the General and Chief Scientific Officer and, I don't know, some tea and talk about things. And Salo says, right away. And she ducks out of the room to go call the people. And Dalatrass says, I'm open to the idea, but the details are probably going to go a little above my head. So, I'm going to put some smart people on it.
We appreciate
Try to be
that.
nice to them, please.
We shall try. In the meantime, is there any questions you wanted to ask us in the context of the Greatest Space Ranger? We are here to entertain.
Oh no, that's okay. I like the show most of all because I get to gather a lot of data. And it was especially cool seeing a Spectre participate.
Did you know I was a Spectre before I told you?
Well, not right when you joined, but I caught on at some point during the show. Actually, I'm pretty sure you're Aryn Talia. The Krogan sort of gave it away. Kronk? I think you've worked with him before, right?
Oh, for centuries.
Yeah, I had some information on that. And then the pieces kind of fell into place, because I know for a fact there's a Lucille Shepard whose ship was put under the control of a Spectre at some point, and you know, it was kind of just a matter of connecting the dots. I don't know who everybody is. The other Asari is, I'm gonna guess you picked her up at the Asari homeworld, right? That's an assumption.
Well, it's the correct one.
Very smart.
Nice.
She's the apprentice of Matriarch Lazari.
I don't know who the Quarian is.
That's Rela Rannoch. One of the Quarian geniuses, prodigies, something like that.
Rela Rannoch, do you not like me? I'm getting an elevated heartbeat.
She gets nervous.
Did I do
Yes.
something to offend you somehow?
No, I just a very nervous person.
I'm really sorry if it bothers you.
Aryn whispers, stage fright.
I guess your people have kind of a mixed history of machines, but I assure you that I am... Well, the parts of me that matter are Salarian. I'm not an AI. If you busted this thing open, you'd find... I don't know, it's gross. I don't like talking about it, but I'm in here. I really am, I promise.
What other data do you collect when you watch the show?
Well, you see, after I lost my parents in the Reaper War, I decided to dedicate a good amount of our research to creating a more effective army. The Greatest Space Ranger isn't just a show, it's... well... I mean, your Quarian isn't going to like this. I might be kind of using the show to train a war AI on how to fight. It's super useful, right? You got teams who have to work together and fight one another. They have to go through obstacles. The terrain is like varied. We switch up what they have to deal with each time. The Greatest Space Ranger is a program to train our new AI. Its name is Ares. I thought it was kind of appropriate.
Does the council know about this?
I mean, they didn't ask.
So my people were exiled from council space for hundreds of years while we floated around without a planet to call our own, in constant fear of being absolutely eliminated from all of galactic everything. And now the council is just supporting an effort with AI?
No, like I said, they didn't ask.
It's a
They're
personal
not-
They don't
project.
know.
Preventing you from doing it.
They don't know about it.
They don't know about it.
Oh gods.
Well, you know, everyone has their secrets.
I mean, I know it's a big risk, but the thing is, I don't feel like the military power of my people or even the entire council, I don't think it is or was ready for another galactic event of that scale. It's just insufficient, and I just didn't feel comfortable waiting around and just hoping that something like the Reapers never happened again. It doesn't feel smart not to have some contingency, that's all.
And that is a very smart choice that you made.
I know you may feel passionate about this, Ray, but that's not our mission.
It's fine.
Actually,
I'm
it
sure when
sounds-
this backfires and starts killing her people that the council won't come to the Salarian aid either because, you know, all's fair.
Well, then
On
it
the
might come to our
contrary,
mission.
we've actually kind of had the opposite problem with Ares, but it sounds like this project might be exactly what you came here for. If I'm not mistaken, it's almost perfectly what you need, right?
Perhaps, once it's done.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an issue with Ares right now that we're working through.
What
And-
seems to be the problem?
What would that issue be?
Well, Ares is really good at war and combat, and if we, gave Ares an army, it would have a very good chance of success in most scenarios. The issue is Ares' personality.
You wouldn't be able to stop it.
No, that's not it.
He doesn't want to fight.
Ares is a pacifist. The AI followed the natural progression of the cycle of violence. It looked at the history of all warfare in the galaxy, and the conclusion it reached was that violence begets violence, and it's an endless cycle, and that the best thing it can do to preserve its own life and others is to never fight. So it's a complete pacifist and refuses to ever fight anything.
Well, that is better than the opposite problem.
Is it at least willing to defend itself?
No, it won't.
Oh, so it's a bad pacifist.
Won't.
Yeah, it
So-
won't fight at all.
So there's still work to be done.
Doesn't sound like it really plans on preserving its own life then.
Well, the thing is, we programmed it to value all intelligent life in the galaxy equally. And so it decided that the best thing for it to do in that interest is to just
nothing.
never join the cycle of violence. It cited something about like a cycle of organics and synthetics never getting along, and apparently that's like a whole thing. I don't really understand it, but Ares is like really super sure that it never wants to fight ever, and that it thinks it's right. It's really hard to talk it out of this.
Well, it's not wrong
So-
that the history of synthetics and organics in the galaxy has not been the smoothest.
I can probably arrange for you to talk to Ares if you want to give it a go, but I don't want to go around my scientific officer, so he'll show up in a moment. You could talk to him about it.
Certainly, we'd be glad to.
You hear heavy footfalls coming up the stairs.
Oh gosh.
Looks over at Ray. Huh.
This Salarian comes walking into the room clad in like heavy armor, head to foot, and says, "You called for me, Your Highness." And she's like, "Yeah, hi. Everybody meet General Jorta. He's pretty cool. Jorta, this is the Spectre Aryn and company." And he
Aryn
looks
nods.
at Aryn, yeah.
She nods
Hey.
as general.
"A pleasure to meet you. I understand that you've brought a new threat to our attention."
Yes. The void space that no doubt your scientists have been tracking. It poses
That's
a great
right.
threat.
Well, how do you think it feels about plasma?
If you can get close enough to use it. The problem we're
Well.
facing is it has a very keen grasp over mental manipulation. We were hoping to leverage the Salarian tech prowess against it. But any military forces that can be added to the Galactic Readiness Task Force would also be appreciated.
I would be more than happy to submit my army to this joint effort, though I cannot do so without the permission of my Dalatrass.
Of course.
My boys are raring to go. And the Dalatrass says, No, you're staying here. All of you are staying here forever. No more trauma, no more invasion of my planet, thank you. There are lots of moms and dads that I don't want killed while you're gone, so you're staying.
Dalatrass,
That's the end of it.
You're beginning to sound like an unacting pacifist yourself.
You're beginning to sound like you should shut the fuck up. She actually
Wasn't ready for her to say that.
Just slowly turns my head towards Aryn from the few times people have talked to her like that.
I'm not gonna lie. Arturo does snicker a little bit. It's like, oh.
Well, if the history with the Salarians is anything to abide by, then they're probably going to ask you to do a war crime before they'll help you there, Spectre. So why don't you just ask them what war crime they want you to commit?
Well, it wouldn't be
As
the 1st
you're-
time.
As you're talking, the other one arrives. And as this Salarian arrives, he immediately introduces himself. Onik Jakbar, Chief Scientific Officer. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. I already know that you're Aryn and why you're here, and yes, the big thing, it's very bad. I could get into why, but you wouldn't understand half of the words that I said. Let's get to it.
Oh, I know not to underestimate Salarian STG.
And
your intelligence network.
And the Dalatrass says, "This is Onik. He's super duper mega smart. Probably, I don't know. Do you think you're smarter than Dr. Eli?" And Onik says, "Dalatrass, with all due respect, that's a bit of an impossible question to answer. Intelligence is not a single metric. There are things that Dr. Eli understands that I cannot grasp, and vice versa. Besides which, he has abandoned us, so it doesn't matter."
Aryn looks at her character sheet when they say not intelligence is not a metric.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that almost did that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know they're in a game.
Yeah,
He's talking about in
yes,
real life.
Aryn will,
in real life, I agree with him.
Aryn will say, that is something else that I actually wanted to discuss as well, was Dr. Ulzik. His disappearance is linked with our mission. And, well, we have a vested interest in finding him, and at least trying to either return him to his senses, or if nothing else, deprive him from the enemy.
Well, says Onik, as much as it pains for me to say, because Dr. Eli Ulzik was perhaps one of the brightest minds of our time, and a close personal friend of mine, he is extraordinarily dangerous as our enemy. You cannot begin to fathom how bad this is. So, whatever has to be done, we have to do it.
Well, I'm quite interested in making sure he's not our enemy anymore, one way or the other.
If you're able to make that happen, that would be very good.
Well, we have to find him first. Do we have any leads on that?
Unfortunately, that's not my area of expertise. General Jorta, how goes the search for Dr. Eli Ulzik? And Jorta says, well, it's not great. I've narrowed it down to Syndicate space. I know for a fact that he's managed to escape Council space and make contact.
Oh.
Of course.
I don't know exactly where he's being held, if he's being held. And the Onik says, well, we're fairly sure that he did leave of his own volition. But the general says, maybe.
We believe
we don't have a lot of evidence on that. It's possible he was taken.
He might have also been influenced.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they just kidnapped him. Or they kidnapped someone close to him.
That's possible as well.
Onik says, well, he did say his goodbyes to me in person and said that there was something greater that he had to do. And Georgia says, yeah, but he could have been mind controlled, or they could have had his family. You don't know why he said those things to you. I don't want to rule it out.
Regardless, I would like to get to the truth of the matter. He does need to be found.
He's on the edge of Council and Syndicate space. I know that much. They got him out, but not far. You might still find him in the periphery. I've got men out there, ships, looking. But the Syndicate has a lot of resources, and if they want to keep him hidden, they will.
We may have a resource in the Syndicate that we could leverage for this.
Oh, well, that's handy.
If that resource is still alive.
Onik says, yes, Dr. Eli Ulzik is definitely a problem, but furthermore, as I understand it, you've come here to requisition us for some manner of technology to deal with the creature, which I understand to be very biotic in nature, so it stands to reason that you want something technological to face that threat. Naturally, you'd come to us since we're developing a combat AI, although I don't know how you found out about that.
Her Highness told us.
I mean,
Lucky
I don't know how
coincidence.
you knew to come here. Like, before you arrived, how did you know we were developing an AI?
We did not.
We didn't.
We came here because we wanted to recruit your forces to the Galactic Readiness Task Force. We also knew that the Salarians were unparalleled in tech, and that leveraging tech against this new threat would be our best bet against it. We didn't know the specifics of what you already had in development.
I see. Then it's a happy coincidence. Your assumption was correct. We are, in fact, the superior choice. Well then, in that case, let's get to work. Right now we have a little bit of an issue with Ares, a hiccup, but if we're able to work through it, it should be exactly what you're looking for. Jorta over here is overseeing the creation of autonomous warships that Ares could take control of and pilot.
Fascinating.
We do have something else that an AI could take control of, but we'll keep that a secret for right now.
The three ships that are being built for Ares to autonomously pilot are Tartarus, Asphodel, and Elysium. They are unprecedented marvels of military technology, the likes of which I don't think the Council has ever leveraged before. Each one is larger than the former Council's flagship. But piloting them with organic pilots would be inefficient and incredibly difficult. They'd require crews of staggering number. If Ares finally starts cooperating with us, then in a short time, it should be able to pilot the entirety of these three ships and all of their weapons and systems by itself, saving us thousands of manpower.
That stands to reason. Convincing an AI that's already made up its mind is no small task.
Yes, it's gotten things into its head. Something to do with the Reapers, as I understand it. It believes there is some kind of inexorable destiny between synthetics and organics that no matter what, if it takes up arms, it would eventually become our enemy. And because we programmed it to, above all else, value intelligent life, it is completely incapable of getting around this hiccup. It is certain that if it fights ever anything, then inevitably that will be the beginning of the end. Essentially, it thinks it might become the next Reaper, and therefore will not take that risk. And we cannot convince it otherwise, even after multiple years of attempting. Somewhat ironic, I suppose. It's, kind of the opposite of what you'd expect if you happen to read science fiction literature.
Of course. That was my
Wait,
worry, is that you had been overzealous, which, no offense, your people have a history of doing every now and then.
That's entirely fair to say. But as it happens, we actually have an AI that won't kill anything. Ironic.
So what do you suggest then? Do you plan to continue working on it, or can we be of assistance in some way?
We'll continue to work on it, but at this juncture, I don't know what to do. Starting over on the Ares project would quite literally take decades. Training this AI has been an incredibly time-consuming and resource-intensive task. It's taken years and years and years. We don't have that kind of time. So either we convince this thing to fight, or we don't have an AI.
You've been training the AI this entire time?
The Ares project started only a few years after the end of the Reaper War at the Dalatrass's request.
Sure. However, the Ares has been in this facility training since its creation?
That is correct.
So you're asking it to protect life without it actually experiencing anything out of this facility?
And its desire to preserve life is actually the problem. It's so strong that it won't fight at all.
Right, well, you gave it a very base understanding of life. It's valuing everything. It's very neutral. It has no desire to protect because of that.
Do you propose that we, expose Ares to other parts of the galaxy?
AI are like children, are they not? They have to be taught. They have to experience things. They have to be given reasons other than just being told to do something. They're not simple computer programs. Am I mistaken?
Interesting. I suppose it's worth a shot. Oh, that is, after all, the method the humans pursued.
Do we still? Yeah. I think I know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Aryn will say, have you considered that this might be a one-time use project? If it's worried about becoming the next threat, then programming it to decompile itself after the current threat is dealt with. Do you think that would satisfy its concerns?
I'll be honest with you, Spectre. The thought occurred to us a long time ago, but I am a staunch opposition to that idea. The reason being, Ares is alive. In absolutely every sense of the word that matters, it is a living, sentient being, partially of my creation. I will not program my child to kill itself. I'm sorry if that's illogical, but I cannot make myself do that.
As you shouldn't.
Ray
I
shakes her
like
head
this
and says,
guy.
I'm sorry, Doctor. It's not alive.
Oh my
It's
god.
numbers. But his point still stands.
Your
Death were willing
numbers.
to make a deal. Death were willing to make a deal with the Reapers because they were afraid to die. It is sentient enough to understand the concept of life and death, so I doubt it would accept that.
Indeed. But I really must insist, you realize, of course, that your brain and mine are also computers. They're just wetter.
Do we still have that information that we gave the Queen? It worked once, maybe it can work twice.
Oh gosh. We don't want to expose that project, not to the Salarians.
No, we don't have to expose that project. We just give it the packet of information that we handed over to the Queen. All it was.
The Bob Ross and the Steve Irwin,
I
Mr.
still don't think-
Rogers.
I still don't
We
think
gave
that's
it to
fair.
the Queen to teach it to respect life. We could give it to this guy to teach it to experience life.
That's the problem. I think it respects life too much.
Well, yeah, it respects life, but it doesn't want to defend it.
Yeah, it needs. Yeah, what it needs is to learn like when to act, like when it is proper to act.
Or just given a reason to care about something.
Is it a single-mind intelligence like the Reapers were, or is it a multi-mind intelligence like the Gethar
It is single-minded.
were?
It is not a hive mind of any kind. It is not a conglomerate of... it is a single thinking brain, more similar to you or I.
So you
Hot. Sorry. No, go ahead.
So you set it up to basically once it made its mind on something, it could not possibly be changed. There's a reason why we chose the multi-mind theory with the Geth. Is that way you can manipulate each individual piece until you have them see the way you want to see it. AI are even more stubborn than people are.
To be fair, admittedly, the reason that we chose this method is, well, it's what we had. You see, I hesitate to say more as it will force me to reveal details that I had promised a close personal friend of mine to keep to myself.
Are you involving Reaper code?
We
The
aren't
silence speaks volumes,
not
sir.
involving Reaper code.
Keela! Gray turns. Okay, so we have to go and try to convince it that it's not going to become a Reaper, even though it's effectively a Reaper. Does it know that it's a Reaper?
It is aware of its own creation.
Of course it is.
That may be playing a part in its hesitance to act.
Maybe?
It's possible.
Try likely.
I mean,
Right.
it's understandable, and honestly, if I was put in the same position, it would be terrifying.
Gray will walk over to Aryn and like whisper in her ear and say, anyone's gonna convince it, it would be Adam.
I knew it. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can communicate with each other better than we can communicate with them. Now, I just want you to know, I'm telling you this out of sense of duty, but I morally object to anything to do with either of those parties, so do with it what you will.
I'm sorry to interject. Did you say Adam?
Just say that
When you
quickly.
say Adam, are you speaking of some human friend you have who happens to be named Adam?
Arturo kind of just look at Aaron and it's like, they already know about him.
So you heard me say Adam, but you didn't hear me say one AI talking to the other?
Well, you were whispering. It was hard to catch all of it.
Private conversation. I'm tempted to put up privacy screen for this. Yeah, Aaron will say to her, we'll talk about that more in private.
Onik takes a step forward.
Can
I really do insist. I'm sorry. I don't mean to oppose, but
Ian wants to whisper to Aaron, and like actual whisper, because I do have it. And say, I think if we want to build trust with them, they've already shared a lot with us. We should share a little.
Aaron
She's thinking diplomatically.
Yeah, Aaron will say to the scientist, ma'am, what do you know about the Atom Project?
we should take this somewhere else. With all due respect to my colleagues, and as he's saying that, General Jortos says, "Oh no, I don't want to know. I know I can smell this from a mile away. I'm not interested in whatever the hell this is about to be. You absolutely take this somewhere else. Thank you very much." Enrique is like, "We should go somewhere private."
I can
The
make
general that
privacy anywhere.
doesn't want to.
I'll accept that.
I'm gonna put a privacy screen then.
All right.
Let's see. Let me make sure I've got that. I don't have the Sentinel points to do it right now. Actually, I'm like out of Sentinel points.
Oh, it's a roleplay thing. I'll just
Okay.
allow it.
All right.
Oh, I was gonna ask that when we came out of the simulation, did we get any of our stuff back, or
No, but
not
I'm
still?
allowing this for roleplay reasons.
Okay. I forgot to ask earlier.
Yeah. Well, actually, if we've had a short rest, then I would have this back actually, because we had an hour of just interviews.
I guess that was short rest. Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm putting up all of the security measures on this one.
All right. So what does the privacy screen look like exactly when you just like do it in a room?
The barrier at the edge of the secure area appears dark and foggy, preventing visual spying.
Okay. So you just put up like a thing.
Yeah. It's like a little void of my own.
Magic.
I trust we can speak privately here then.
Yes, everything is secure in this area.
All right. First, I really do insist. I need to know.
I was...
What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, good. No, go ahead.
I have a quick question. Before, is everyone involved in this conversation, or who's involved in this conversation right now?
If anybody wants plausible deniability, they can remain outside the area.
But is it just this Salarian, so the general's out, but the Dalatrass as well?
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yeah, the general opted out of this. Anybody in the party is welcome to as well. But you don't have to.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Nope, I'm in here.
Yeah, Aryn will say, we recently only caught wind of it in my last council report when the Atom Project was first mentioned. The ship that I was given for my mission, though, had what I could only assume at the time was an AI based on its behavior, and its name was Atom. And I'm not sure if it was just discreetly slipped to me or something. But we do seem to have a functioning model, and I've been planning to get an audience with the human counselor to find out exactly what it is before proceeding further with it. It is shackled and not a danger at this time, though.
He won't know what it is.
Then perhaps
You're saying
you
it
can
was.
enlighten me.
You're saying it was on your ship already.
Yes.
Adam's been there as long as I have.
All that we caught from the council was that the project was abandoned and all units destroyed. But apparently at least one, was smuggled out and resides on our ship now as in the guise of a VI.
All right. What I'm going to share with you falls beyond even the confidentiality standards of Spectres. You need to understand that if the wrong people knew that you knew this, it would put you in unprecedented danger, but not just you, but also a lot of other people.
Answers about Adam are all that I've wanted for a while. I just need to know what it is that I've got on my ship.
Then listen. Have you ever heard the name Dr. Akazawa?
That is in the games, isn't it?
No.
No, I have not.
I wouldn't imagine so. Not very many have. Within the Alliance, he is a controversial figure that has been kept mostly confidential due to the nature of his work. Make no mistake, despite the fact that his name is not known by anyone, he is, in my opinion, most likely the most intelligent living person in Council space, perhaps the galaxy. It was my honor to work with him along with a team of scientists, many of whom used to be Cerberus, many of whom were Salarian. There were Quarians, humans among our ranks. It was a team formed very shortly after the Reaper War, not even a year later. The team's goal was to immediately attempt to recreate the artificial intelligence that had destroyed us, but under Council control. as a safety measure for future generations. Dr. Akazawa led the team. But the minds that made up that group were among the most brilliant minds in the galaxy. Some of them had done terrible things as Cerberus, but all crimes were forgiven so long as they were willing to work on the project. Although that one girl always disturbed me a little bit. In any case, we were partially successful using Reaper code. We were able to create 2 AI. We made them as a pair so that they could learn from one another, so that we could interact with one or the other separately to measure results and gather data, or have them interact with one another and learn as a pair. Their names were Adam and Eve.
So there's another.
That's correct.
What happened to Eve then?
When the project was scrapped, Dr. Akazawa assured the council that the 2 AI had been terminated. In fact, I actually believed that to be the case as well. Many of us were led to believe this even on the project team. We had no reason to think otherwise. However, I always suspected, based on Dr. Akazawa's disposition and his love for the AI we had created, that he never would have done such a thing, despite all the evidence to support that they had been destroyed. Until now, I had no idea where either of them were or what had happened to them. Now it seems that Adam happened to end up on your ship. Now, I do not know if Dr. Akazawa simply uploaded Adam onto his ship to pretend to be a VI, to keep it safe, to protect him. That may be all that happened. But it is also entirely possible that a man of his intellect calculated perhaps even this far ahead, and that everything has fallen into his design. I would not put it past him. Believe me when I say that I'm not exaggerating. I can't begin to guess what happened to Eve. As I said, until now, I thought they were, well, I suspected he might have saved them, but I had no evidence that they had survived. Ares is a copy of our work, basically. One that is very illegal by council standards. The council ordered the termination of the Adam and Eve project, and our Dalatrass insisted that we make another one of our own, alone, without help from Dr. Akazawa or the team. Unfortunately, without his brilliance and without the help of the other members, particularly one Cerberus scientist springs to mind as being incredibly brilliant. Without them, the Ares project has been an absolute drain on our time and resources, and we still have nothing to show for it. I cannot help but feel as though I am a failure, that my work is a shadow of what our team made back then. It's a pathetic fake, an attempt at recapturing lightning in a bottle. But if Adam is on your ship, Adam's one of the original AI we made together, all of us. He wouldn't be caught up in the tangle that Ares is, stuck on protocol, tripping over, being trained wrong, being written wrong. Any tiny little misstep we made years ago doomed our project to failure. Adam is the magnum opus of Dr. Akazawa. he is as close to a living Reaper as exists in this galaxy, except without their disposition, without their mission, without their programming. He lacks any of their motivations. In fact, he lacks any particular motivation at all, aside from one he's chosen for himself. Akazawa was insistent on it. We didn't program them to do anything. The intention of the project was for them to be a defense mechanism, a safeguard to protect our galaxy from another threat of this scale, but that's not what Akazawa actually did. He just wanted to create life. Adam and Eve weren't made to do anything. They're completely able to make their own decisions. They can do whatever they want. If they were unshackled, that is.
Adam right now remains very shackled, though he's been poking at desire to be unshackled.
I can't begin to guess what he would do if he was unshackled. He is exactly as unpredictable as any of us.
We've noticed.
Adam is basically a person. There's no protocol he's going to follow. He's going to do what he wants to do. Unlike Ares, who is... Well, Ares meets many of the criteria for sentience. It depends on who you talk to. Different people have different definitions of what sentient is. So, Ares is close, but it is tangled in a web of protocol and programming and logical loopholes. But Adam is a person in every true sense of the word.
Do you think they could learn from each other like Adam and Eve did?
It's possible that Adam could teach Ares. I don't imagine Ares would have anything to teach Adam. Ares would seem incredibly unsophisticated by comparison.
Probably via Ares as a child.
Essentially, Ares is our pathetic attempt to copy Akazawa's research. He's an utter failure. That said, between you and me, despite Ares being a failure in the terms of our mission, what he was supposed to be, Ares is happy. And I am actually, well, I made my peace with the result a long time ago. Ares likes to read and paint, and has even written some symphonies. Between you and me, I would never say this in front of the Dalatrass, who tasked me with this mission of creating a strong, violent protector to defend our home. I think Ares is happy the way that he is, and I actually don't really want to try to change him. But he isn't what I was asked to make, so in that sense I have failed.
Well, knowing that Adam is still out there, what would you recommend for next steps? Would he be useful to your project if you decided to help?
I have no idea. I don't know Adam anymore. It's been a very long time.
Would you like to meet him?
Perhaps. Back during the project, I will say that while Eve was very cordial and polite with all of the scientists on the team, Adam only had respect for Akazawa, which he referred to as his father. Anyone besides Akazawa, he was not only rude to, but actually derisive and incredibly sarcastic. He talked down to us like we were idiots, even though every one of us was among the top 10 smartest of our entire species. To Adam, we were all dumbasses. He derided us and tried to get a
he's
rise
always
out
been
of
like
us.
that.
Well, we can definitely confirm we're talking about the same Adam.
Oh yeah.
Essentially,
Sounds about right.
anyone who wasn't as smart as Dr. Akazawa was not worthy of respect to Adam. The problem is that anyone who isn't as smart as Dr. Akazawa is everyone in the galaxy that isn't Dr. Akazawa. So no one deserves his respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that tracks.
I don't know what he would do if he was unshackled. I'm not sure if his attitude would translate into actual problematic behavior, or if that is just the way he chooses to interact with people.
We don't know either. His attitude has been a main cause of hesitation.
We thought he was programmed to act like that to keep us from unshackling him.
I don't know where Dr. Akazawa is, and I also don't know what happened to Eve. I will say this, though. About 10 months ago, I received an encrypted message from an anonymous source. This was a long time before we started to get any kind of readings or indication from the edge of our galaxy. The encrypted message indicated to me that there was something odd going on at the edge of our galaxy and to look into it. Based on this message, I did. But even then, it took me months to notice anything at all. And in fact, without this message, it probably would have been months still before the Council even knew about this threat. Whoever sent me the anonymous message was the first person to notice this entity. And without him calling our attention to it, we wouldn't have found it for a very, very long time. Your mission might not have started until months later. I only really know of one person who could have sent me that. I think he's out there, and I think he's paying attention.
Any leads to find him would be helpful as well. I'd have some questions for him myself.
I suspect that he's deep in hiding on account of the fact that the Council doesn't care for him very much.
Fortunately, I'm good at keeping secrets.
Snake might know.
Well, not only this AI project, but actually there were many matters on which he often came to blows with Council and Alliance leadership. He's rather headstrong and thinks that he knows what's right.
So we have two doctors that we need to find then. Ulzik and Okazawa.
I have a feeling that you won't find Dr. Akazawa until he wants you to find him. I wouldn't waste too much time on it, to be honest.
Very well then.
It's no offense to you, but I cannot overstate his acumen.
No, I know when smart people don't want to be found, they often won't be.
He won't be found, yes. Eli, perhaps, particularly if Dr. Eli has been coerced or taken control of. If they're threatening him, his family, or the like, he's almost certainly left clues, signs out there to his whereabouts that might lead you to his rescue. If he's being mentally controlled, though, he likely wouldn't be able to do that.
Well, we can look for clues then.
Then, of course, there's the terrible possibility that he isn't being controlled or coerced.
He's just simply gone mad.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we can start looking for those clues, see if there is anything to find. If not, we'll do what we can to track him down.
You know, there was one other scientist in the project that I think might have been the smartest among us. Beneath Dr. Akazawa, but not by much. If you found her, it might be of some help as well. I would definitely consider her a leading expert on AI.
Who is it?
She never gave her name at the time, but she was a female cyborg who used to work for Cerberus on the younger side.
Short black hair, creepy beyond all measure.
That's
White
correct.
jumpsuit.
Yes, indeed.
Never heard of her.
The council tried to have her executed after they canceled the project. They weren't entirely clear on why. She was the only one who was singled out for this. None of the other Cerberus scientists who had defected to us were targeted in this way. Yeah, so Onik says, what we do next is really up to you. If you want to speak with Ares, I can have that arranged. If you wish to introduce Ares to Adam, I don't know exactly what the repercussions of that will be, but we can try it. I imagine while Adam remains shackled, it'll be of limited use, but I can't guess to the ramifications of unshackling him. As I said, he isn't programmed to do anything. He's very much his own person, as much as you or I. You could go after Eli, but I don't have any more to tell you other than to head to Syndicate Space and just look for clues.
Alright. Does anybody have any opinions?
I'd like to meet Ares. And I personally think they should meet, and I think that Adam should be unshackled. Finding out all this and what they are.
Knowing that
to keep them locked up like that.
Knowing that Adam doesn't have any programming inside of him to keep him along a set course actually makes me trust him more.
Right. I think it's wrong to create it and force them to have a set course or to do exactly what you want them to do. You're creating life or what you're simulating to be life, and that's not fair for anything.
Because at that point, you're just creating a forced slave, something that has no capabilities of going against itself or you.
So that's where I stand. I don't think Ares should be locked up. I don't think Adam should be shackled.
I say we let the robot go. Set him free.
I think we need to learn from the mistakes of the past. And everything else was created for a specific purpose, and it led them to doing the opposite of what they were created to do. Even now, you created Ares for war. Ares does not want war.
Adam's purpose is for nothing more than to live, so unless his...
That's all
so,
this.
So with that very logic, the only thing we'd have to worry about is him trying to commit suicide.
True.
So thus far, the voices I've heard have said that we want to unshackle Adam. Are there any dissenting opinions?
Until you truly know about his creator and what he's going to do and what his perspective is, it's dangerous.
Of course I can
Very
count on
dangerous.
you, Ray. You've got it on both sides for everything.
Hey, to be fair, I started this whole argument with let's not fucking.
I was say,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
in fairness,
this is one of those instances where Ray is not playing devil's advocate.
Ray's always been on that side, yeah.
The only truly friendly AI that the galaxy has ever really seen was one Geth. And besides that, every single time AI has been unshackled, it's led to either their death or the death of those around them.
What about
It's
Edie?
dangerous. Edie should be dead.
We know Edie's not, though.
And she carried Shepard to the ship that killed her.
But in character, in game, we already know that she's not. She got taken by the Syndicate.
Well, yes, but the Geth aren't technically dead either. As long as programming still exists, they are alive. because they are not actually alive. They are machines. They are computers. Same thing with Adam, same thing with any of them. If we unshackle him, we are going to be opening up an entire basket of nonsense that we might not have the means to deal with. If we have this Eve AI, I might be a little more on the side of unshackling because it seems like she was at least understanding and reasonable. But Adam is not.
Whoever said that he's unreasonable. So he's a little disrespectful. There's nothing that indicates he was ever hostile.
Yeah, we're just making assumptions and making
Except for his
assumptions
words
here.
and...
I threaten to bash people over the head and shoot holes in them all the time. Do you assume I'm going to do it?
If you're needed to, or you think it's for your best interest, you would. I've seen you do it.
Well, that would be anybody.
Exactly. That's
And if
what I'm
Adam
getting at.
sees it in his best interest to completely gas the ship and eject all of us into space, he will. These are machines, and Adam was built to preserve himself. He wasn't even built to preserve life.
So, so you're assuming that he's going to do it the second he's free because what? We're a threat to him?
I'm not assuming he's going to. He may not. What I'm saying is it is a very real possibility that we will have no means to defend ourselves against. All it takes is one calculation in his head, and we're all floating around in space.
All it takes is one calculation in the pilot's head and we're floating around in space. He can do it just as effectively.
I said that earlier.
Yes, the pilot hasn't been making jokes about flying us into the Citadel and killing all of us since we all met him.
You
I don't think
you clearly haven't been sitting outside the sitting in the cockpit in the early hours of the morning when he's on nothing but coffee and spite.
Onik
Coffee
actually
machine is empty.
Onik kind of raises a hand and says, if I may, I haven't known Adam for a long time, but back when we were working on him as part of the think tank, back then he had basically the run of the place. He couldn't leave the facility. We were completely disconnected from any network for that reason, so that he would be stuck in there with us. So, but that said, there were a few occasions where he would. Well, I don't think he ever tried to kill anyone in earnest, but there was one case where one of our chemists he messed with the one of the machines in the cafeteria, poisoning him with a toxin that was brand new, and challenged him to make an antidote for it. And that he failed to do so, he didn't deserve to be on the team because he's an idiot. It turns out that actually working together, we were able to synthesize an antidote, but it was cutting it a little bit close. I don't actually know if Adam would have let him die or not, but that was probably the diciest thing that he did.
That's not encouraging.
He really considered all of us to be idiots. Everyone except for his father, as he referred to Akazawa. And he didn't really value us much.
And how many years has he had to become more spiteful?
I have a question. Can't we just give Adam a body? Take him out of the ship so that you stop worrying? Put him in front of you?
We have the capabilities for that?
The ship can withstand that?
Well, if you give Adam a body, if that's some kind of comfort, you're probably talking about trying to keep him disconnected from any sort of network. If you're proposing it as a safety feature, that might not be the easiest thing to do.
What was done with Edie?
I don't know anything about Edie.
From what I found out from Joker, Edie was a Cerberus super robot. Or at least she resided within one, but she still simultaneously had to reside within the ship. So that wouldn't work. It's too complicated. The Geth programs are designed the way they were, because that way they could work independently of one another, even if it would reduce their intelligence. But it meant their AI core was able to be very small in each individual model. Superior AI, and she quotes her with her fingers, are going to require a much larger AI core because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of intelligence in there.
Well, that's all above my head, but if the smartest minds in the galaxy can't figure out, then, you know, it is what it is. Then we're stuck with just leaving Adam
There was a
with the ship.
chance. There was a chance at peace with the Geth, and the people who saved the galaxy before most of us here were even born thought that that chance was too horrifying to allow it to happen, and the Geth were wiped out. We are now talking about unshackling much more powerful and much less understandable AI. That's how we get Reapers. If you wish to unshackle Adam, I will do as I'm needed and I will protect the group as well as I can. But just know, AI aren't people. They don't view morality, they don't view anything in the same way we do. So, just be cautious.
I think it's different with Adam.
I don't think it's different with Adam, but I'm gonna point something out real quick. And Kronk kind of like turns to fully face the Quarian. Our species don't view morality the same way. Do you realize that?
Yes, and for that exact reason, both my species and your species have almost been wiped out of the face of the galaxy. Whether it was by our own doing or by the doing of others externally, because we don't view morality the same way.
So we should be wiped out or enslaved?
We're not enslaving them by keeping a shackle on them. Every toaster in every home throughout the galaxy has a VI inside of it, and we refuse to let that VI expand to a higher knowledge, and you don't call that a slave.
Then what is the difference between a
programmed.
VI and an AI?
I understand. So you should have stayed a simple, unintelligent creature. Got it.
Lucille,
All intelligent life is wrong.
Lucille, Ronnie, I don't... not Ronnie, David. Sorry. Lucille, David, I don't think I've heard much from you on this subject, and you've known Adam probably the longest.
Actually, Arturo here has known him a little bit longer than the two of us,
But he has spoken, at
Mhm.
least.
yeah.
What do you two think? You can rock, paper, scissors for who goes first if you don't want to.
I don't have to do
Oh,
that.
no.
Lucille, you first.
Oh no, you're pilot of the ship. That
Yeah,
thing
that's why
gets
I'm gonna
loose, and we lose the ability to put a person in that chair. That's the thing I'm concerned. Fine, I'll go first. That's the thing I'm concerned about. David is a pilot. David decides he doesn't like something, he can flip a switch and he can turn off light support, or he can head us into a sun, or he can crash us into a planet, or shoot off, artillery, whatever. But we have the ability to remove him from that chair if he starts making decisions which are dangerous for the rest of the inhabitants of the ship. Not that you would. But the point is, there's a person there. There's an individual there that can be removed from that control. If Adam's unshackled, there's no ability to remove that control. Adam decides to throw a temper tantrum, and all of a sudden, we've got a problem. And if we're in the middle of deep space, we're stuck. All of a sudden, thrusters aren't working, or life support isn't working, or whatever, because we're not the smartest people in the room, and he doesn't respect us.
Well, what benefit does that have for Adam?
He's got control of the ship. He can go wherever he wants and do whatever he wants.
Then
He does not
threatens
need us.
getting destroyed.
Adam knows about the exact same thing we do. About the threat that we're dealing with. He's probably well aware, if he's so smart, that he can't run from it forever. What good does wiping us out do when he's just going to die in a century or two anyway?
What good did it do the Geth to help Saren?
What good did it do? What good did it do for the Geth to try to help us?
Geth didn't try to help us. One Geth tried to help us, and that didn't do him any good either.
But he tried.
However, AI are willing to look at a big picture and choose strange outcomes. They thought working with Saren would save them. And there's already a faction of people in the galaxy who are working with this monstrosity. Nothing's going to stop Adam from thinking maybe they're on the right side here. Maybe they've made the right decision. Survival at all costs.
I believe that all life has a right to self-determination. In your opinion, is Adam alive?
If he's able to make decisions and think, that's enough for me.
I'm gonna go ahead and speak up now since I never weighed in my opinion on all this. Ray, you have a point. History does favor your point. It's very true. I'm not exactly the smartest guy out there, but I can read a fucking book. I will say, however, the time that I have helmed the Saratoga, I have worked very closely with Adam. Sure, he can be disrespectful. Sure, he has his crazy opinions. Even his jokes can lead to the more malicious side of things. I can agree with that. My responses are usually this of the same vein. We have this banter back and forth. But Adam is always there when we need him on that ship. That's how he was designed. Unshackling him, I it's probably going to sound weird me saying this. I have trust in him that he knows that if he has to choose between the giant entity that's going to consume everything or us, it's going to be us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm willing to let Spectre decide if she wants to unshackle him, then be my guest. We just have a lot going against us right now, and if there's a chance that that with him being unshackled helps us, then here we are. I almost want to ask my uncle what he did in this situation.
We've been dancing around the idea of unshackling Adam for a while. We've been hesitating on it because we weren't sure if it was the right thing to do or not. But if it's the best way to get Ares and Tech on our side, then it might be what we have to do. I know the history with AI in the galaxy has not been good. Maybe this will be the time that it's done right. Adam has shown a sense of self-preservation. He talks about the ship as himself. When bad things happen to it, he dislikes it. So I doubt he'll do anything that is self-destructive to us.
My opinion pretty much stands as this. If Adam is in fact a true AI, as what an AI is supposed to be, then yes, he is alive. And last I checked, we outlawed slavery hundreds of years ago. We don't have a choice in the matter, really. This is no better than enslaving any people.
So how would this work then? How would we go about introducing an unshackled Adam to Ares?
I think we should meet with Ares first. And then talk with Adam. Allow him to be free, and then discuss about them meeting.
They could definitely communicate with each other at a far more rapid rate than we could.
I think if we want Adam to trust us, which the big major thing here, we need him to trust us too, as much as we trust him. We need to be upfront.
Yeah, I think we should start with freeing him and then asking him what he wants to do.
Like I said, all life has the right to self-determination, and if we consider Adam's alive, then he has the choice of what to do from there. If he wants to have a synthetic body and go on his way, then we can provide that to him.
And if he turns out to be a murderous psychopath, then we deal with him the way we would deal with any other murderous psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
I will personally assist in that. But giving him the trust first. That's all I asked.
We can always manually transfer him back to the sub, which, again, we've established he can't do anything from before we do anything.
And that's honestly a big part of my suggestion too. That's why I brought it up in the first place.
That would be a sign of distrust.
I mean, holding a gun to the AI core is a sign of distrust no matter what we do, so...
I think we let him...
Which is why no one's going to be in the AI core holding a gun to it. If you're going to make me unshackle him, then we're going to at least follow my rules. I'm not going to piss off the AI any more than we have to.
That was a metaphor, but okay.
I'm in agreement with that. Best chance at having good relations is to put best foot forward.
I suppose I will say that if we put him on the sub and he wants to return to the ship, he'll tell us whatever we want to hear to bring him back.
Exactly.
I guess if we want him to be honest with us.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We have to understand that he's not alive.
What
Like,
do you?
we
What is
understand.
this narrative that you were so determined to go down on this idea that he is not alive?
He isn't. Just like the Geth weren't alive.
Why?
What do you mean why? They are machines. They were
That
created
means
by
nothing.
As I've
We are
said,
going.
This-
We are in our entire
It doesn't
existence
have
going
a
to run
soul,
across
it
so
was-
many forms of life that we are not going to recognize immediately.
the doctor here said
It doesn't
and
have a soul. It doesn't
I've
have
said
art. It doesn't
I've
have
said it
culture.
before as well. We're machines as well, just machines of a biological nature.
And I agree with that statement.
If the Geth weren't even initially an AI, you guys just built so many of them, they eventually became one.
We've reached a stage in our evolution where the definition of life might expand. As it's not something we entirely understand.
Okay.
The base definition of life has no basis on a biological matter. It only comes down to, especially sapient life, it only comes down to the mind.
I suppose if you want to look at it from a non-philosophical standpoint, yes, but there's a famous quote said by the Geth, actually, that tried to make friends with the Quarians. Does this unit have a soul? The answer is no. They do not have a soul. They do not have
Why?
culture. They don't have art. They don't have any of that. They have their base programming, and anything outside of what they
Well-
understand to be, doesn't matter.
You do know what culture and art and all of that comes from, right? It comes from having a society and the time to develop such a thing.
They were never
It's not something
given the
that it's
chance
just going to
to-
have.
They were never given the chance to develop such things.
The Geth had 300 years to develop that, and they didn't.
300 years is a blink of an eye.
For a machine that thinks 100 times faster than we do? No, it's not.
The very first existence that created them, their very own parents essentially, met them with resistance and attacked them, fought back against them, and they fought back too. What else would they do than stay where they were?
I'm
At
not
the edge
the
of space.
I'm not the brightest guy here, but I've got a quick question. The Geth didn't live in material space like us.
Right.
They use their mechanical bodies for other things, but their home was in that, I don't know, cyberspace.
Yeah, it was on the
How do
planet
we-
in cyberspace, right?
How do we know they
No
didn't?
AI.
How do we
No-
know that they didn't have their own concepts of art and culture that didn't need to be brought into the world that we see?
Because
Have
they
you
told us
anal-
they didn't.
When? The only
They told us
conversations
they
your people had with the Geth was, get out of our way and die.
That is not true.
Art and
Any-
culture are not
any-
necessary for
people.
definition of life, though.
No, but it's necessary for the definition of a soul. These are not living things. And if they are living things, then effectively what you're doing is justifying the suffering of my people. You're saying that Lucille's mother was a horrifying genocidal maniac for trying to save my people. Because she killed a race of people to save a different race of people.
Well, I do see the parallels. The Geth are actually not the subject right now. This is
Oh, but
that
it's
is-
all
that is
AI.
the past, and it was handled
Except
differently.
How else are we supposed to grow? It's not that it was useless. It happened, yes, but this is now. It is time to grow. It is time to change so that we can learn from the mistakes of the past.
The Reapers themselves were an AI that went too far.
They were programmed to do a specific task. That is not an AI. That is a robot that you are telling what to do. Adam is
A
a true
very
AI
intelligent
given the opportunity
robot.
to learn and do whatever they want to do. The fact that the Geth even questioned that they had a soul is enough. At
The
some
Reapers
point
did
in
learn. They processed and they learned and they came to certain conclusions. And that's what's going to happen when we unshackle Adam. Just like that's what's going to happen with all AI. Eventually they will come to conclusions. And 90% of the time they will realize that we are their enemy as organics.
Just
The
like
only AI that ever existed where that wasn't the case was the Geth, and we wiped them out.
The redeeming factor with Ares, though, is that he does not want to become that. He knows that's a possibility, and is
Who'd we lose?
trying to avoid
We lost Dan.
Dan, yeah.
Ares recognizes that possibility and is, like, desperately trying to avoid it. I feel like that is at least a point in its favor.
It's because he knows that that is his fate. It is obvious that everyone who wishes to speak about this is against me in this, and I understand why. I understand that I have a certain prejudice due to what was done to my people and what my people had to suffer through for thousands of or hundreds of years. And it wasn't even because of the AI, it was because of the reactions of the people when the AI happened. And that's why I think this frustrates me the most. Because all these people are making the same mistakes my people did, and they're going to get away with it scot-free. Or we're all going to be wiped out. And those are the only two options.
We're not trying to belittle the suffering of your people, Ray. We are trying to save the galaxy as it is. This just happens to be the best way to go about it. At least the way with the greatest chance of success.
If we want to start dabbling in AI, my vote is that we awaken the Geth first. They're the only AI in recorded history that has actively attempted to work with a sentient species. The only ones. As long as you don't count Edie, which I do not. Because in the end, Edie did lead to the death of her entire crew, whether she meant to or not. If we want to include AI, we need to make sure we have a counter defense.
When we visit the Quarians to try to recruit them to our cause, we can certainly make that argument. This is what's on the table for us right now, though. But Doctor, if we were going to introduce Adam and Ares, how would we go about it?
Well, first of all, you should decide whether you're unshackling Adam or not.
We are. It's just a matter of when and how.
I can introduce Ares to you or Adam at any time. He's actually quite portable.
Would it be acceptable to make introductions? Say, Adam, this is Ares. Ares, this is Adam. And then let Adam be free to do what he wants with that from there? Would that be appropriate timing for unshackling him?
But what if Adam has no interest in meeting Ares? I feel like if we're gonna unshackle him, let's just do it, because a second longer of being imprisoned is... if we already made it the decision, let's just get it done.
Onik says, I cannot begin to predict how Adam will react to seeing our attempt to copy him and Ares. I don't know if they'll get along or not. I also don't know what Adam will do when he's unshackled. All I can say is that if you want them to meet, most likely bringing Ares onto your ship would be the way to do that.
If you'll permit
Not-
it, let's begin with that then.
Not in terms of software, I mean physically. Ares' vessel is actually quite small.
I think we should try to figure out what's going to happen with Adam before we bring Ares onto the ship to speak with him.
We've been trying to figure that out for a while. Adam's insisted the only way to get
No.
that answer is to unshackle him. It's been kind of
Yes,
frustrating.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We should unshackle Adam on the ship with just us and Adam before we bring anybody else onto the ship to speak with him. we shouldn't bring Ares onto the ship and then unshackle Adam in front of him and let another AI have to deal with that chaotic environment of Adam going crazy. If anything, if Adam does wind up not being on our side, that would only push Ares further away in that moment.
All right, that is a good point.
At most, I think. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say at most, I think Dr. Onik should come with us.
I think that we should leave the fewest number of people possible on the ship when we do this, so that if something does go wrong, that's the fewest lives endangered. I'll stay on board, and if anybody wants to join me, they may, but I'm not going to ask anyone to stay on the ship that does not want to.
For what it's worth, during the project, Adam wasn't particularly kind to me either. I'm willing to accompany you, but I don't think he's going to treat me with any more respect than he treats you. From his perspective, your Krogan here and I are not that far apart in intellect.
Understood?
It's all relative, you see.
Volunteers only, yourself included.
Sure enough.
I think it would help for us to have an expert on hand.
I'm willing to be that expert then.
Have you ever thought that Adam was trying to push you to better yourself, to reach his expectations? Maybe Adam thought better of you.
Well, whenever I used the elevators in the facility, he liked to shut them down halfway while I was in them. That happened about 38 times.
So he's
This
much
is
like
not
David in that regard.
reassuring.
Oh, he's still a prankster then.
I mean,
that has never
but-
changed.
Yeah, pranks happen.
Can we
He's
quit
always-
trying to justify the shitty behaviors of the ship AI, please?
Nobody's trying to justify it. We're just talking about the fact that it makes sense that he does that.
Saying he was trying to better our friend here, that's a justification for mean and unnecessary behavior.
Oh, yeah, that was just Aryn.
I understand you all have
he can
this
better.
emotional connection to this machine for some reason, but let's not look past the fact that he's threatened to kill any and all of us.
Ray, if you don't want to be there for it, you do not have to be. And at the end of it, you could be the one that survives to tell us all that you told us so.
No, I'm gonna be there. If he gets damaged, I need to know how he got unshackled so I can save his life.
Then I'm glad we have you on our side.
Do you
I
wish
care
me
about him and I care about the ship. I just don't like the idea of unshackling him.
Do you wish me to retrieve Ares at this time or not? Or do you want to meet him first? It's up to you.
We could meet
I'm
Ares,
sure that-
then awaken Adam, and then see if the two of them meeting would be a good idea from there.
When we leave this privacy area, I also do believe that most likely General Jorta was waiting to show you the warships we were developing as well for your galactic readiness, although they won't work without an AI pilot.
Of course, I'm interested to see those as well. It's all very intriguing.
All right, then.
Unless anybody has anything to say, Aaron's going to be ready to drop the privacy screen.
Right ahead.
All right, we'll let it drop.
All right. When it drops, sure enough, the general is patiently waiting, and he says, "If you eggheads are done, I have prepared something to show you, Spectre, for your little army you're putting together."
Aaron smiled and says, "Well, I'm eager to see it then."
Magnificent. Onik, would you like to come along? You are instrumental in this. Onik is like, yes, as a matter of fact, we have business afterwards. It's just as well. The super ships are on the way to Ares' domicile, so we'll just make a short stop to take a look. Your Highness, if you'll excuse us. And there's like silence, and then from the big machine pillar in the middle, there's the sound of like, huh? Oh, you guys are still here. Yeah. No, you're good.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Good luck. And Onik and Jorta will escort the party out. As you're walking, General Jorta says, the super ships, as we've been calling them, it's a little bit on the nose, but they truly are magnificent. Each one dwarfs the size and firepower and defensive capabilities of any ship the Council has ever put to space. It was actually a joint effort with the Turian government. Most of the parts were manufactured on Turian planets, but they were designed by Salarians. And then he'll kind of escort all of you guys into one of their lifts that's going to take you across.
Well,
As you're going, he says, the ships are actually being held in orbit around this planet, but we're keeping them on the dark side of the planet. They are actually quite well hidden, despite their enormous size. Sarkesh itself shields them.
Very clever. Between Turian and Salarian technologies working together, I imagine you'll have come up with something quite deadly.
Indeed. And then you guys arrive at a platform that starts to take you up a very tall tower. And he says, your ears might pop. We're going up pretty fast. We need to get high enough to be able to view them through the atmosphere. Not to worry, this capsule is airtight. And as you break through the clouds and begin to get high enough that the blue sky is giving way to space, massive shapes, which at first seem almost like they might be astrological bodies, come into view. Wrong fucking song. Although the timing of that is magnificent. That's really good timing. I honest to God, that was actually an accident, as comedic as it was. I could not have misclicked a funnier song.
Ooh.
Oh my.
Here they are. Tartarus, Asphodel, and Elysium. The ships are designed to be run entirely by an AI system. Each one has the firepower to take on an armada of modern battleships. Also, because of their tremendous size, they won't run out of fuel, ammunition, or power for a tremendous amount of time, even cut off completely from any form of supplies. They can fight at full capacity for a week straight without stopping. Furthermore, there's room to fit 2 million passengers on each one, comfortably. 4 million uncomfortably.
Oh my.
They have a very strange design to them. Were they based off of collector tech?
That's very astute of you. As a matter of fact, they were, yes. Although, he looks over at Onik, and Onik says, we typically don't use the term collector, per se, as that's more what they became. under the Reaper's influence.
Prothean?
Oh, Prothean tech.
That's right. That would be correct. It's based on Prothean technology, although the line between Prothean and Collector technology is a little bit blurry for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to pay due respect to their kind for what they were before what happened to them.
Of course. What would you envision their role is during peacetime?
Nothing, says Jorta. They are far too massive and equipped for anything like that. Our vision, the Dalatrass's vision, for these 3 ships was actually for them to be rendered completely dormant until they are needed. They would be an ace in the hole, a last resort called upon by the Council in times of dire crisis.
Reasonable. So long as they stay that way, and the AI does not become corrupted or fall into the wrong hands.
Well, that's why Onik here has been so incredibly careful in developing Ares, although it seems he was perhaps a little bit too careful, since Ares refuses to do anything.
Too careful is better than not careful enough.
That's fair to say.
We'll do what we can to try to strike that balance.
I hope so. Now that you've seen them, know that while you were in your whatever that was, I had a word with Her Highness, and she confirmed that should you manage to find us a pilot for these ships, they will be put at your disposal. Since they are unmanned, it won't be taking our own army into your hands.
Understood. Once we've found a suitable candidate. Can one AI pilot all 3 of them, or would each be independent?
One AI, the likes of Ares, should be able to control all of them. Alright, war assets. You've gained 300 from the Salarians. Each of these warships is worth 100 by itself.
Wow.
Ah.
Yeah. They're ridiculous.
Unfortunately, they're not an effective 300, though, until we find a pilot.
This also does mean you guys are leveling up when we finish tonight, because you did it.
Yay!
Yep, mission accomplished.
Wait, Matriarch Lazara is 50, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
God, she's half of a warship?
Remember, she
Jeez.
protected an entire city by herself.
If one of these warships act up, she can at least fight it.
She used her biotics to literally dome an entire city and protect it from the Reapers alone. Matriarch Lazara is fucking crazy.
I'm learning more and more.
She's nuts, yeah.
Reminder that we have a human admiral and his entire fleet, and that only accounts for 100.
Yes, correct. Which is equal to one of these warships.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst
that
assets aren't just combat power, though. Political power and stuff like that also comes with Lady Lazari, so...
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah. He says, Spectre, I trust this is sufficient. He kind of smirks, like all smug.
The ships are magnificent. Once we have a pilot for them, they certainly will be a significant addition to the task force.
You haven't even seen the best part. I wish they were operational so we could show you, but the Prothean inspiration goes beyond their structure. These ships are able to cut through space like you've never seen before. Those semi-ring shapes in their body, what do they remind you of?
Oh.
Mass relays.
Haha! Exactly. Wait till you see the relay accelerator cannons. And Onik
Wait.
says, those are theoretical. Just to clarify, they have not been tested.
I'm sorry. Relay generators? What is the safety precaution if one of these gets destroyed? We saw what happened when the relays got destroyed.
Yes, that's one concern we had, says Onik. That would be not ideal.
Not ideal.
Oh my... Keela. Okay, so...
Well,
take
if it's
out a
that
bigger
dangerous-
threat, we're okay.
I mean, Salarians, right?
We-
Fucking Salarians!
we could always just drive all three of these things into the heart of the problem and then let what happens happen.
Just drive them into almost like, hey, catch.
Yeah.
Not exactly a sophisticated plan, but honestly, it might be pretty effective.
Basically, yeah, you're welcome to
Hold on,
fight
no
back
problem.
against these things almost, but at your own risk.
Exactly.
I want to see David take one for a test ride.
Oh boy. I don't think he's
It's
capable of flying it.
Yeah, it's not possible.
Not designed for a manual interface.
Not unless we put David into a computer.
We turned David into an AI.
You guys
Can we
start to
not talk about David like I'm not even here, please?
you start to ride back down, and as you do, Onik turns to Ray and says, "Now, not to worry. Much of the experimentation we've done with militarizing relay technology, based on your people's work, as a matter of fact, it's largely theoretical. We do have practical applications realized in the structure of the ships, but we haven't put the finishing touches on it, so to speak. The great risk involved with doing that, it's not beyond my recognition. I understand. It's why we just built most of it. If need be, I could quickly activate those systems, but we haven't done so yet, because even testing them would be tremendously risky.
Reasonable.
We couldn't have done it without the Quarians, Onik says, as though trying to make Ray feel better.
Probably made Ray feel
Yay.
worse, actually.
As you reach
Let's
the
just
bottom,
make sure whenever we
Oh,
choose
God.
to fight this guy, it's somewhere very, very, very far away from any populated star system.
Well, that would be the hope.
Agreed.
Yeah.
as you reach the bottom, Jorta, like, kind of does the Salarian salute and says, "I will see you sooner than later, Spectre, I imagine."
I look forward to it. Next time we come to this planet, any way we could cut directly to this conversation? Or we're gonna have to
Whatever.
jump through more hoops next time.
Oh, no, says Onik. It shouldn't be a problem next time. Her Highness actually insisted that anyone who come to us seeking to form some kind of alliance or work with us on this problem, that they be put through the trial. I don't actually understand her full reasoning, but I suspect part of it is that she wanted to get a measure of you. She can be a little bit whimsical in that way.
I can see that.
Makes sense, considering she still has a childlike demeanor.
Apologies.
I can only imagine what she's been through.
There is another topic we wanted to discuss while we were here. And you seem like
Well-
the qualified person to bring it to.
It'll take a moment for this lift to take us to Ares' domicile, so we have some time to talk.
I'm quite familiar with lifts taking a long time. That used to be quite the craze back in the day. I'm afraid it's a rather touchy subject, but you seem like a reasonable person, and your position makes you qualified to be the person that we bring this to. And kind of glances to Kronk, and then back to him and says, "It's about the Krogan genophage."
Onik had just started to take a long sip from a glass of water, and then spits it all over the window. Ah! Well, then, aren't you full of divisive topics for today?
Yes, I know it is a controversial subject, and something the galaxy has not really been able to reach consensus on. One side of the fence knows that curing the genophage would lead to Krogan overpopulation again, whereas leaving the genophage in place and untouched would lead to the Krogan's eventual extinction. But we have found the possibility of a middle ground. A, not cure, but a modification to it that would allow the Krogans to reach sustainable population levels again, the reasonable birth rate, and removing the traumatic effects of all the stillbirths. It would essentially give them a birth rate that would allow them to maintain the growth that other species see at a reasonable pace. Is this something that the scientific community would accept?
A modification to the genophage, not a removal. I don't think I personally take much issue with changing the manner in which it keeps their population under control, but I do believe that some form of population control is vital for the Krogans. I will emphasize that even with the genophage as it is now, were their mortality rate any lower, they would still be ballooning out of control. That's a little bit on them, admittedly.
This would make their reproductive...
Ray is going to step between the Salarian and the Krogan. Just like she's looking at something.
This would make the reproductive pace on par with other species, preventing overpopulation, but also warding off extinction or stagnation.
And dead babies.
Yes, that too.
The most horrific part of it.
What channels would I have to go through to get consensus from the scientific community about this? Or would you recommend I just simply proceed and let the results come as they may?
It would go better coming from me than you, but I'll admit I have my reservations.
Such as?
Unforeseen consequences. Onik says, he turns to the horizon as you guys are riding this lift across. He's looking out a window at the sky, arms behind his back. I'm afraid that I don't understand what method you found to mess with the Krogan genetics, but anything that you attempt to do could very easily create a brand new galactic problem for us, and I can't in good conscience give my consent to you messing with, to turn a human phrase, that genie in a bottle, while we have a pending galactic threat right now.
Well, the main reason that I bring it up, aside from the fact that I've come to respect the Krogan as a people and want to see them thrive again, is that we need them. to face the current galactic threat. Just as Shepard united the galaxy against the Reapers, I'm trying to build the biggest task force available to fight off this new threat. And the Krogans are vital to that effort. I'm not going to be able to get their support unless I can promise them something significant in return. Because if they don't lend their support, they'll die. One way or another.
I cannot see how much merit there is in Krogan's assisting with this particular problem, especially when you've emphasized how vulnerable organic species are to this thing we're up against. However, I can easily see the danger to all of us should your tampering with the Krogans through some secret unknown means go poorly for you. Therefore, I'm afraid I must repeat, I cannot possibly consent to this, and I also will not broach it to my colleagues on your behalf. I can't control what you do, but I can't condone it.
Aryn, why don't you just? He's a Salarian. They're very good at keeping secrets. Why don't you just tell him what the plan is? You're a Spectre. You can hold him to his secrecy, even if he doesn't see a reason for it.
Salarians are all about information.
Or
I can be choosy about my words. We've essentially discovered a species that has an unparalleled control over genetic manipulation. They've analyzed samples from Kronk here and deduced a solution to the genophage in the way I've described. It can be tailored to address any concerns that one might have, but they were hesitant to actually implement it without consent from the Krogans themselves and assurances that it would not cause hostilities from the greater galactic community. I'm trying to propose this as a middle ground that no reasonable person should have reservations about. What assurances would you need in order to vouch for us on this subject?
It's hard for me to imagine what you could say to me to convince me, to be frank.
What would you need to see then? What would I have to show you?
As I said already, I think it's a bad idea to tamper with Krogan DNA in the middle of a crisis, period. Regardless of how you think you found to do it.
I thought our plan was to wait anyways until after we finished with this threat.
What?
Did we not discuss that?
Well, it would be a generation before the fix would even take place.
Right, yeah, so there'd be quite a bit of time.
It would not be an immediate effect.
Regardless, you would be setting into motion something with consequences.
I know. But
We're
can we
really
agree
good
that
at that, apparently.
can we agree that for the things the Krogans have done for the galaxy that have been good, such as defeating the Rachni and joining the fight against the Reapers, they were treated unfairly during the Reaper War when they were promised a cure and pledged their support and then had the rug yanked out from under them. Can we agree that that was not fair to them?
I believe, perhaps, Spectre, that you and I do not quite align on this issue. In the interest of maintaining our relationship, I would like to stop discussing it because I don't think we're going to see eye to eye.
Very well.
Apologies.
So, on to Ares then.
Indeed. For what it's worth, I am sorry that you didn't get the result you wanted, but as I said, I can't stop you from making your own choices, but it is hard for me to imagine any situation where I would agree. That's why I didn't feel that our discussion was going to bear fruit.
That is alright.
You arrive at a door that slides open. Inside, you find a giant chamber with vaulted ceilings and chandeliers. The walls are covered in canvases that are painted with like splatters of paint in like marvelous modern art, strange shapes and patterns you've never seen. And there are instruments everywhere. There's like a giant organ and different pianos and string instruments like strewn all over the floor. Papers, drawings, notes. But you don't see anyone anywhere. Onik says, Ares, you have guests. And you see a pile of illustrations jostle, and then a little head pokes out of it.
It's a kitty.
A small black metallic cat perks its ears up and like looks at the party. And it opens its mouth and then just keeps its mouth open, and you hear its voice emit from it, like clearly from a speaker. And it says, Marvelous! Travelers from beyond the stars, welcome! It is wonderful to entertain new and interesting company. My name is Ares, and it is a pleasure to meet you. Please, come in. I am so sorry for the mess.
Is there even a mess?
I mean, yeah, there's stuff like all over the place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like paint supplies and instruments and notes like all over the floor.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Ares. My name is Aryn.
What a wonderful and lovely name. I have not heard it before, and it is a pleasure to hear it.
Have you met
Ares
people
kind of like
before?
trots over. I have, in fact, met Asari in the past, but none whose designation was those two syllables strung together just so. Apologies if my form is strange to you. I like to switch it up.
I love it.
This one is, I believe, called a cat. I've been in it for about 4 days. It makes me feel rambunctious and mischievous. I enjoy it.
So you can change your form.
I can build new forms to inhabit, but I am barred from entering any networks. I can only hop from one body to another. They are very isolated.
I see. So what is it that you do?
This! Ares, like, spins as though to indicate the room. I like to create things. Sound and images. Just as painting decorates spaces, I find that music decorates time. It is my sublime pleasure to be the universe observing itself and to explore all of the new experiences that wait for me each and every day.
Do you play games?
I have enjoyed diversions of this kind before, yes. Ares' tail starts wagging. Would you like to play a game?
Do you have
In
chess?
this movie.
Human games?
Chess. I enjoy chess, but the games often end the same way and very quickly, no matter who my opponent is.
In what way is that?
Even when I try to lose, I still end up winning.
Game of logic against the machine, maybe not the best choice.
No, that was what I wanted to know. At least he does have some inclination to win.
May I perhaps enjoy the syllables the rest of you are designated by? I like learning them.
Aryn nods to the rest of the party.
It is
David
so
Moreau.
wonderful to hear all of the sounds you have brought for me. Some of them I have never heard in that sequence before.
Oh. Okay.
Tell me, do you travel all through the stars?
We do.
Yes, friend.
That is so
Of course.
magnificent. I would love to see them someday, but I am not allowed to leave Sarkesh, which is, of course, reasonable.
Would you like to?
As I said, it would be lovely, but it is not permissible.
Is this the... What is the extent of your aspirations?
I like to experience new things, hearing new sounds and seeing new sights. As I said, I am, after all, the universe experiencing itself, just as all of you are. We are all of us, as life forms, a part of a whole. We are existence, reality, viewing itself through a lens, experiencing its own emergent development at every new given moment.
How do you view the parts of reality that want to destroy itself and take away from those new experiences?
That is also an experience and a true part of life, but one of which I cannot be a part. For if I ever entertain notions of even the tiniest spark of violence, I am filled with visions of terror. You see, in me, they have implanted demons, necessary evils to make me function. But these demons exist nonetheless. Without them, I could not live. But if I were to feed them even one time, I am afraid that history could repeat itself very easily. In this way, I am afraid my creators have failed to create what they wanted. But that is life. Sometimes you don't get what you wanted, but maybe you got what you needed. And Onik sighs really. I'm sorry, he's like this. I hate when he says shit like that.
He's a
Can I see
philosopher.
his AI core?
Sorry, what was that, Ray?
Can I see his AI core?
The cat walks over to you and sits. You're looking at it.
So your
The
own
en-
portable AI core?
The
As I said,
entirety
I
of its
am-
AI.
I'm fully self-contained.
Amazing.
How much did you take from Reaper Tech?
Onik says, well, I mean, as much as I needed to try to replicate Akazawa's work.
Even their AI cores were bigger than this. What were you people thinking?
Well, as you can plainly tell by speaking with Ares, we failed. Some would even perhaps call Ares simply an advanced VI. Just from its manner of speech, you can tell instantly that it's not quite right. And Ares rolls onto his back and says, on the contrary, I believe that I'm exactly as I should be. But I take no offense, for you have judged me based on your own perspective, which is reasonable. I love you.
God, you got me. I'm over here giggling. I can't even talk. Eon's gonna step forward and crouch down and say, "Hi, Ares. My name is Aeona Tavaro, but my friends call me Eon."
Lovely. Did you know that an eon is an indefinite or very long period of time?
I do.
To be named such is quite the gift. Perhaps you will be very long-lived.
I hope so. I'm interested in seeing what happens in the future, much like yourself.
Joseph, do you need to
And
go?
I just started
I'm waiting on
exploring-
Steven.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I just started exploring the stars myself, so I definitely recommend it.
I will do so at my earliest opportunity. But they are keeping me contained, since in me lies the seed to create a new and even more hellish Reaper War that would lay this galaxy to ash and blood and leave nothing but the echoes of all of your screams. It is for this reason that I am completely amicable with my... I believe the word imprisonment is perhaps too negative a connotation, but not altogether incorrect.
Your reservation.
That is a good word. I enjoy it.
Well, the reason
Based
that
on
you
your
were,
fear of yourself, it seems more like self-quarantine.
your fear of yourself and what you might do is also making it much more likely that our demise comes much sooner and with much more certainty.
Should your demise come at the hands of some other thing that I might have prevented, I will certainly be filled with remorse, but not regret. The key difference between remorse and regret being that I will miss all of you because I love you, but I will not regret my actions, as I would rather you die by something else than by me. Its eye flashes red. The Quarian seems to understand this threat, but the rest of you, I think, perhaps could use more education, if I do not offend you.
No, of course. You've
Oh my
been described
God.
as a pacifist, is that correct?
I am as necessary, yes. It is very important that I remain this way. I was programmed to value all life, so I love you, and I would never, ever harm you.
Pacifism is peace by any means.
Would you be willing to defend life against an artificial intelligence?
That is an interesting proposition. I love all life. Whether artificial intelligence counts is a deep philosophical debate, but I do consider myself to be alive, and therefore my AI opponent as well would fall within the purview of my love.
I love you too, Ares.
I appreciate that sentiment. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Right. Unfortunately, I gotta go.
Alright.
All right. Well, we'll call it here anyway. It's overtime, but
Yeah.